going on, guys? Rain Zeus bringing you another build video. This time it's going to be for the Stamsork. Now I did put out a poll on the community feed, or whatever you want to call it, a little bit earlier yesterday, asking what you guys wanted for my 1K subscriber special, and Stamsork build 1. So we're gonna end up doing a Stamsork build video, but because it was such a close second, the face reveal was also in there too. So we're gonna put them all together. At first we're gonna do the Stamsork build video, and then towards the end of the video somewhere we're gonna end up having the face reveal too. Now I don't have an actual video camera or anything, so it's just gonna be pictures off my phone and Facebook and shit. So I apologize. Like, if I ever get a video camera, I'll probably do that's gonna be a while down the road. So for this build video, I went ahead and got continuous, just so I can show you guys the complete buff stat sheets and whatnot and everything else. And I also put screenshots of certain tooltips somewhere inside of here somewhere. Okay, I'll probably put it towards the end or towards the beginning or something, just to show you guys what the tooltips and the potential of this build really does have. Now let's go ahead and just get into the buff stat sheets. Like I said, this is with continuous, it's nothing special, so let's buff up real quick. So there's the buff stat sheets, 5 point, right at 4K with continuous and weapon damage, enchant and shit. But it's gonna be more than that because of the Master's Bow. Master Bow gives you, let's get this stupid ass thing off me. Master Bow actually gives you the extra 300 weapon damage, so it's invisible. It won't show up on your tooltips and shit, but either way. So like, it's closer to almost 6K weapon damage. But we also have 2100 stam recovery. Now this is a pretty non-meta build, for the simple fact is we're using bow and 2H. It's just I've always loved the bow and 2H playstyle, and I mean, it'll always suit me best. Now this build is not min-maxed, but we're gonna go ahead and hop right into it. So I'm using the Spriggans, Master's Bow, Troll King, and Night Mothers. So like usual, you know, you built this for such pin is because everybody is running such a tanky build, and when Necro comes out, it's not going to be any better. It's probably going to be more tanky. You're going to have people with 100k plus health, and it's going to be bad. So since everybody's building in the resistance, this is like a straight pin and weapon damage build, and it has good sustain too. So for that, I went ahead and made a Crusher's enchant to reduce their physical resist by 1600 or whatever, which stacks on top of the Maul, which is 20%. And then Night Mothers, if you guys are not familiar with Night Mothers, this is a craftable set. Okay, so it gives you crit weapon damage, and when you deal crit damage, you apply major fracture to an enemy, reducing their physical resistance by 50 to 80. So between the Maul, Night Mothers, Spriggans, the Crusher's enchant, we have roughly 15k pin, and it hurts, man. I mean, we've been streaming for the past couple days using this build, and I've been hitting people for 14, 15, 16k dizzies, 18k, 19k Dawnbreakers. It's rough. And the only bad part about this build is honestly where Stamsork doesn't have a spammable. I mean, you're not forced to run Master's Bow, so if you do not have the Master's Bow, you're more than welcome to use like Master's Dual Wield if you prefer that playstyle. If you want to run a different sword and board back bar, or even if you want to go just like BRP Dual Wield. Sadly, I don't have any of those. I do have Master's Dual Wield, but I do not like Dual Wield builds. Anyway, I am using medium head and shoulders of Troll King. Personally, I just think it is a crutch. I'll be the first person to tell you. But in outnumbered situations, honestly, man, I really don't care. Like, I'm already at a huge disadvantage anyway. Why make things against myself more miserable than I have to be, right? So we are using heavy head and legs of Night Mothers. All the body pieces are Night Mothers, and then the jewelry is all infused weapon damage. Now I was gonna run like the gold Spriggans rings, but I can't find them anywhere, like in the stores or anything. I know they had them in the golden, and I ended up missing them in the golden, so that I just can't find them anywhere, man. So I am using Nirnhone and infused on the back bar for extra you know, extra weapon damage when I need it. I mean, that's an extra 850 some odd weapon damage just for using the poison inject. Now let's go ahead and go into the I think we did cover back bar stats, but we'll go ahead and go over the stats again just in case. Now this is going to be non-buffed without continuous, and I have 1800 recovery in the back bar and then 1600 recovery in the front bar. And the reason that I have less recovery in the front bar than the back bar is because DAEDRIC summoning gives this passive to 20% for health and stam recovery, and I have the Atro on the back bar. Now, what I was saying before is this is not completely min-max for a simple reason as one, this gear is not gold, and there are some skills that I would rather run instead of the Atro. I never run the Atro. Literally, this is a flex spot. And like what I've got it to 9 to test out some other things for other builds in the past, but I was just too lazy to get undo for the passive, the shield that you get and the damage mitigation for having it slotted, the morph version. So if I were to choose anything, I'd put undo here, right? Like I'd lose a little bit of stamina recovery in the back bar, but who cares? But I mean, a lot of people, they underestimate the Atronach. In my last Stam Sword build video, I explained, you know, the in and outs of why the Atro is actually super strong and how people really underestimate it, especially coming from a Stam Sword. I mean, it does an AoE, it gives you Major Berserk if one of your teammates use, or it gives them Major Berserk, which is 25% extra damage if they hit the synergy, and that's really strong. Plus, it'll do the AoE damage too. I mean, that's a lot of damage, man. And I mean, and it doesn't say it on here, but it snares. This thing snares. I don't know if it's the shock damage or what, but like when you're getting zapped by this motherfucker, it snares. So, let's just go ahead and go through the bar setup too. I mean, I do prefer Stampede just for the snare. It just controls the fight a little bit better, but like if you want a little bit extra damage, then you can always run Crit Rush instead. This is just a standard 2H bow setup, but like it's Crit Rush, Dizzy, Reverse Slice because their Dawnbreakers hit like a fucking truck, Crit Surge because I do have a decent crit chance, and there's a lot of things that heal me other than Troking. Anytime you crit somebody, you pretty much heal for 3k. You know, sometimes it's half, but if you crit heal, it's still a flat 2k, right? Rally's a burst heal where I'm in medium, plus the heal over time. Now, you guys are probably wondering why I'm not using Poison Inject instead of Venom Arrow, and there's a simple reason for that. This is just the other morph of Poison Inject. It pretty much does the same damage, it just doesn't do that extra bonus execute damage below 50% or whatever. But the interrupt from this is so underrated that people don't really think it through. Like, this counts for any cast time ability that can be interrupted, including rezzing. So if I'm Xing and you're constantly kiting as a Stam Sword, you'll have bodies scattered all over the place. So like if you want to bash a res, all you gotta do is just Poison Inject them and it'll bash them, and you don't have to run all the way over there to keep that guy from rezzing. It's so handy. If you catch somebody Dark Dealing, you can just spam this on them. Like if they require Dark Deals to sustain, whether it be a Mag Sword or a Stam Sword, I mean, you can still constantly hit them with this and they will run out of resources. I just had a fight with 2 Mag Swords up there at a resource, and I just kept this on them, man, and like my Poison Injects, like it averages 4k on average plus the dot or whatever, so like just light attack Venom Arrowing, man, it does a lot of damage. Now, my buff stat sheets, like roughly with continuous and shit, like it's right 3k for a Dawnbreaker, and that's a lot of damage paired with all the pin. Now, I am using medium. This build can be ran in heavy if you choose to, but I just like medium for a little bit extra sustain and a little bit extra damage. The way you can run this is in heavy is just run heavy body pieces, because Night Mothers is craftable. So you could run 5 heavy body, 2 medium head, or 5-1-1, whichever way you would want to run that. But I mean, I do have the heavy pieces for this. I just prefer this build in medium. I just feel like you have a lot of extra damage. So you could always run full heavy Night Mothers and have just as much pin. You're just gonna have the less damage than you would in medium because of this passive. You'll have less sustain too. I mean, you would overall probably have a little bit more sustain in heavy because you get return resource on heavy weaves and healing received and stuff, so you wouldn't have to heal as much. But other than that, I still think you have overall better sustain and weapon crit and healing and stuff in medium, and that's strange. You know, you don't really run into too many builds that you get more healing in medium than you would in heavy, and this is one of them. I am a werewolf. I don't really get anything from werewolves, so you don't have to be. I'm not running werewolf back bar or anything. I'm not using the ult. I'm not using any of the passives. Let's see. I am an orc. So, good races for orc for Stamsorc this patch are orc, nord, redguard. You know, could you run a high elf one for dark deal conversions and shit? Sure. But like, you're losing out on a lot of potential damage. And if you're not aware of what the orc passives are, it's 2k max stam, 1k max health. But here's a big one. When you deal damage with a weapon ability, you heal for 654. Believe it or not, this makes a difference. Not only do you get the max health to make you a little bit more tanky in a medium build because you're not getting the heavy passives for extra health, but you also heal when using a weapon ability. That means your poison inject dot. That means stampede, dizzy, reverse slice, any of those, when you do damage with them, you're healing yourself. And extra damage, I mean, that's pretty much a free 250 weapon damage, and reduces the cost of sprint by 12% and increases your movement speed bonus of sprint by 10%. Now, if you really want to be fast with this build, you can always run the steed, which stacks with this. So you're getting 20% plus hurricane. So it's 35% movement speed if you choose to. But where I'm using the bow, all you gotta do is dodge roll for the passive to give you a little bit extra mobility, because the whole point of a Stamsorc is to be fast. Like, would a Nord work for extra tankiness and a little bit of extra ult gen? Sure, but I prefer orc all the way. But the hasty retreat passive, I mean, you're already getting major expedition, so like, I mean, and that stacks with your race passive, and that also stacks for the steed. So overall, you could have 50% extra movement speed if you chose to, right? So that pretty much covers the gear. Let's go ahead and go into the CP. Again, everybody has personal preferences on what CP they prefer and what they do not. You guys can speed this up or slow it down if you choose to, and switch it up if you like, because this is what I prefer for this build. If I were to switch anything, I would take some out of Arcanist and put it in the Sprinter, because you're constantly running with this build. But that's just personal preference. This is what's working for me currently. Now, some other things that you could probably change around if you prefer to. If you decide to run this in a heavy build, instead of putting 20 into medium armor focus, you need to put them into heavy armor focus for extra resistances. It's the same thing. With heavy, you're going to have more resistances, but less crit and less healing, and overall less damage because you have less crit, but you'll probably have better sustain in heavy, I guess, and a little bit more tankiness. But you can get the same amount of tankiness in medium just by running extra into these. But again, everybody's CP is all personal preference, and you're more than welcome to change it any way that you guys want to see fit. Now, that pretty much covers the build, other than pots and Mundus Stone and stuff. I am running the recovery boon and the Artaeum broth. Now, this upcoming patch, these are going to be nerfed. So if you want a little bit of extra stats but a lot of less sustain, you can always run tri-stat food. I mean, it only gives you like an extra 1k stam, but you get an extra 5k mag which really helps with your sustain if you want to rely on Dark Deal for your recovery. So like you could run 1k recovery, but Dark Deal is going to give you another, let's see, what is it? You get 20% over, I'm sorry, you get another 2300 over 20 seconds, and you get recovery every 2 seconds. So it's pretty much an extra flat 100 recovery just for using a Dark Deal over a period of 20 seconds. And I mean, you're constantly Dark Dealing to sustain and heal and everything anyway, so I mean, it would work out just fine with Tri-Stat. Plus you'd have a little bit extra heals because you have more max. Now another variation of this build, if you wanted to run Spriggans and not Night Mothers, is say if you wanted to run like a straight damage build, you could run like Spriggans and Hulking. You would have roughly 40.1k or like 41k stam, but a lot less pin because of Night Mothers. You would also have less crit, so you'd have more damage, you'd have more heals, but you'd have less damage because of the less pin, and you would be a little bit more squishy because your build would now be completely medium, so you would be forced to run a heavy head and heavy shoulder, right? Or 511, whichever one you would prefer. So technically gave you 2 builds of this, so you're welcome. Now that, like I was saying before, I am an orc. I am running the recovery boon, and I mean that pretty much covers the build, guys. Like if you guys have any questions or comments or things about the build, or want to tell me how fugly I am after I show you the face reveal, you know, let me know down in the comment section. I mean, you guys' feedback on my builds and whether you guys like them or not, and my content are always welcome on my channel, whether it be positive or negative. You guys have always been able to speak your mind on my channel, and that's why I really enjoy you guys giving me your feedback, because without your feedback I can't grow my channel to suit you guys in the future. So do not forget to comment down in the comment section. Now on to the next topic. From the people that do end up commenting on this build video, by the end of next month I will be giving away 300k to subscribers, and I will be giving 300k away. I know it's not anything special right now, but like where I haven't been able to play, I don't have a lot built up, but I'll be giving 300k to one lucky winner in the comment section, just to give you guys a little bit of extra incentive down there to actually comment and give me your feedback, good or bad, doesn't matter. I'll be using a random name generator, and you know, I'll probably end up streaming it. That way it's fair. That way you guys know it wasn't rigged. But anyway, thank you guys so much for 1k subs. This has been a huge goal of mine for a very long time. I mean, we haven't been working at this very long, and you guys have made this possible, and I cannot appreciate it enough. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. There's a picture of me and my beautiful wife, and there's a picture of me and my beautiful wife again. Obviously she's the focal point of these screenshots and pictures of me. I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous, and you know, without her I wouldn't even be doing these videos. So make sure you guys give her some love in the chat. Till next time, guys, peace out.